Are you recording?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
We didn't hear it.
I know, that's why I ask. Reverend David Shaw has been in communication with spirit guides since he was almost 3 years old, when his guardian angel saved his life for the first time. When he was in his teens, Spirit told Reverend David that he would become a healer, and when he was getting his first spiritual healing certification in his 30s, Spirit said that he would become a minister. Reverend David completed that prophecy by being ordained at the Center of Enlightenment on October 15, 2017. He is also certified as a medium by the church in 2016. Reverend David has been attending the Center of Enlightenment since May of 2015. He is currently serving as assistant minister and president on the COE board of directors, and I'm proud to call David a friend. Reverend David, sorry. And please help me welcome Reverend David to the podium. His sermon today is called Our Past Influencing Our Present. So please help me welcome Reverend David.
Thanks, Reverend Keith. My brain keeps saying I should introduce myself. Hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. And either good morning, welcome to the Enlightenment, or my guides are. And Spirit kept yelling at me all the time I've been sitting there. No, you don't say that. You're just a speaker. Speaker gets introduced by the chair. So they're already correcting me and helping me out. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Coming home from church last Sunday, Spirit told me to tell the following story. And that's why Reverend Keith got his topic so early in the week. Usually it's like Wednesday or Thursday. When I was in my early teens, I became very particular about word usage. One thing that challenged me was when people would say goodbye when they left me. I had the thought that even if they died before I saw them again on earth, I would surely see them again in heaven. At that time, I didn't know about past lives or reincarnation, so heaven was one of the instigators for this thought process. I decided to figure out what was the best word usage to say to someone when they were leaving my vicinity, but it couldn't be goodbye because I would see them again, either in physical form or in the afterlife. I used a thesaurus to look up words similar to goodbye and a dictionary to check their meanings. Remember when all we had was paper books? Well, two of you wouldn't.
We're older than you think.
Back to the point. I decided that see you later was the best word combination because I would definitely see them again, either in physical form or in the afterlife. Spirit reminded me of the story last Sunday to point out that I was thinking about spiritualism before I had ever heard of that topic or even past lives or reincarnation. Looking back, I now understand that the original question in my thoughts was asked by one of my spirit guides. They were planting a seed for when I would walk through the doors of the Center of Enlightenment and find myself at home, body, mind, and spirit. In our training for spirit communication, many instructors talk about how spirit uses what is in your mind to better communicate with you. It's an encyclopedia of language and experiences that they can draw on to better relate to you and communicate about what the querent spirit wants to talk about. So I have mentioned this on several occasions, but I never realized what had happened until now. There's a publication in 1968 called The Whole Earth Catalog. The subtitle was Access to Tools. One of my brothers bought the version called The Last Whole Earth Catalog in 1971. Actually, they just reminded me. He got it for Christmas from my mom because she's crazy like that. And I read it the next year when I was 12 years old. In October 23, Wired magazine posted an article with the headline, The whole of the Whole Earth catalog is now online. Well, that excited me because I have a printout of the cover of the one I read, and these are a couple of the publications that I could find in our boxes of my books in the basement, but my 4 different editions of the Whole Earth catalog, yeah, they were like probably at the bottom in the middle of the pile of like a dozen boxes, so that wasn't happening with this back. The article states, a nearly complete digital library of Whole Earth publications, including the famed Whole Earth catalog, founded 55 years ago by culture icon Stuart Brand, has been made available online for the first time. A curious reader can now flip through all the old catalogs, magazines, and journal right in their web browser or download entire issues to their computer free of charge. The Whole Earth catalog was a proto-blog, a collection of reviews, how-to guides, and primers on anarchic libertarianism printed onto densely packed pages. It carried the tagline, access to tools, and offered know-how, product reviews, culture analysis, and gobs of snark long before you could get any of that on the internet. The collection is hosted by the Internet Archive with the website wholeearth.info, operating as a landing page that serves as a hub and explainer for the various sections of the library. Each publication can be perused page by page or with page arranged side by side like a book. Each issue can be downloaded as a PDF. I couldn't get that to work yesterday, so I'm reading this little tiny print, because when it talks about densely packed pages, it was probably a 9 point, the text in this book. Not the headlines for each article or product review or whatever, but the actual information was like so small. But I did go through to confirm some of my sources for this. Now, the one that I read back in 1972 at the age of 12, the last one, was actually the 6th of 10. So they were off on their titles a little. Now, reading that crazy book put a lot of crazy thoughts in my head, which you can all probably attest to, and gave Spirit lots of material to use to better communicate with me. And now I realize that my need to best define word usage came from reading that book and the influence it had on me. When I became an alcoholic in my late teens, in the back of my mind, at some level, I knew that Alcoholics Anonymous existed to offer me a hope of sobriety. Why? Because that book, their book, the big book, is in the last Whole Earth catalog, and I read about it. The second step of AA's 12 steps states, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. When I first read the AA Big Book in 1980 and saw that, I said to myself, I'm an agnostic. How can I make that work? So to work the 12 steps, which makes sobriety work, I needed to have a higher power greater than myself. Now in the Big Book, it says at a minimum, you could use the electric company, because at the time, no one generated their own electricity. Lots of people do that now. So back to researching in books at the time, and I decided that the Tao Te Ching spoke to me and speaks for me. That is the equivalent of the Bible for the religion of Taoism. And the reason that I mention it now is because I first read about the Tao Te Ching at the age of 12 in the Whole Earth catalog. So a lot of influential things happened to me in my teens, and I can trace a lot of my current thoughts, beliefs, and practices to those years, and specifically the last Whole Earth catalog. I think I skipped a page. Nope, I worded something wrong. That's one of the touchstones in my life. And through it all, even though I didn't know it at the time. Now I'm understanding. There was Spirit helping and guiding me through all those crazy voices in my head that I didn't know where they were from, and was I insane or something, but it wasn't. It was guides. So Spirit had me tell you all these personal stories because they want you all to reflect on and meditate on your past and what were touchstones in your own life that brought you here today to the center of enlightenment. They encourage you to take some time in the days ahead to find out what inspired your connection to spiritualism, and in the spirit of Easter, they want you to look at this practice as a personal resurrection. Because every day we're born again, every minute we're born again. Spirit said to give you some philosophical and psychological theories why the past creates the present. So they presented me with the following online article. How does our view of the past shape our present and future? By Thomas Higuera on the website academia.edu. He wrote, our perception of history is a crucial element that has a profound impact on our present and future. It informs our beliefs, attitudes, and values, and can shape the way we see ourselves, others, and the world around us. In this essay, I will explore how our view of the past influences our present and future, and highlight the importance of historical awareness by drawing on the insights of philosophers like Arthur Schopenhauer, Friedrich Nietzsche, and psychologist Carl Jung. The late historian and philosopher George Santayana once said, those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. This quote highlights the idea that if we are not aware of our historical mistakes and failures, we are likely to repeat them in the future. On the other hand, a positive view of the past can inspire us to build a better future. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, we are not makers of history. We are made by history. By understanding the lessons of the past, we can learn from them and make more informed decisions in the present. Furthermore, our view of the past can shape our identity and the way we see ourselves. If we have a positive view of our cultural, national, or personal history, it can give us a sense of pride and a sense of belonging to a particular group. This can motivate us to continue its traditions and values and shape our attitudes toward the future. On the other hand, a negative view of the past can lead to feelings of resentment or anger and can shape our attitudes toward certain groups or situations in the present in a negative way. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer recognized the importance of history in shaping our present and future, arguing that the two enemies of human happiness are pain and boredom. So when I read that, I had to stop for like 15 minutes and check it out. It's like, does this guy know what he's talking about? And I agree. I think that's one of the ways to phrase enemies of human happiness, pain and boredom. By looking at our past, we can avoid falling into boredom by gaining a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. At the same time, a critical examination of the past can help us avoid repeating past mistakes and reduce the likelihood of experiencing pain in the present and future. Friedrich Nietzsche similarly believed that our view of the past can have a significant impact on our present and future. He argued that we must be aware of the cultural and historic forces that shape our beliefs and values in order to have the freedom to make our own decisions. Nietzsche believed that it is through a critical examination of our history that we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and become more self-aware. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychologist, also believed in the importance of examining our past in order to understand our present and future. He believed that our unconscious mind holds the key to our deepest fears, desires, and motivations, and that by exploring our past experiences, we can gain insight into these unconscious elements of our being. In his view, a proper understanding of our past can help us make informed decisions in the present and shape a positive future. Personally, I know that getting sober and continuing to make amends for my past negative actions, correcting negative behaviors into positive conscious actions, and working very hard to reach toward enlightenment are all ways that I have chosen to learn from my past, embrace my present, and look forward to my future. I encourage you all to also reflect on your past and use it to fuel an improved life now and always. And they're throwing my head a thing saying, also in Alcoholics Anonymous, the 12 steps distill down to trust to God, clean house, and help others. And help others is only the last step. 1 through 3 are the trust God. 4 through 11 are where you clean house. And they challenge you to really clean house and make a list of all the things you've done to wrong people and yourself. And then you have to go out and not only apologize, because apologies, what does that mean anyway? You have to make amends, which means I'm going to choose to change this behavior into something positive, and then I'm going to do whatever I can to right the wrong I've done you. And so that's a real stumbling block for a lot of people, is the actual making amends part. For me, it was more writing the list, admitting all the wrongs. That, no, I'm perfect. I don't make mistakes. And that's why there's some giggles in the room. So I encourage you, even if you're not alcoholic, even if you don't have any obsessive compulsive disorder tendencies, the 12 steps are a good method to live a clean, positive, uplifting life. Spirit said to really talk about the Holy Catalog, because there's at least 2 people either in the room or online that are supposed to go to that website and look at the stuff. And I hope downloading the PDFs works a lot better for you than it did me. So thank you all for your time, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you.